The Unsolved Mystery of Leota Camp, a 57-year-old cold case. It was a warm summer morning on July 10, 1967, in Des Moines, Iowa. The Camp family's day began like any other. Ray Camp kissed his wife, Leota, goodbye before heading to work, leaving her to care for their 3 young children, Kevin, 4, Brenda, 3, and baby Christine, just 3 months old. The sun broke through the clouds, and the older children played in the backyard while Leota hung laundry on the clothesline. But by noon, the peaceful morning would turn into a nightmare that would haunt the family for decades. Around midday, Kevin and Brenda went inside for lunch. Baby Christine lay on a white blanket, quietly feeding from her bottle. But their mother was nowhere to be found. The children soon made a horrifying discovery. Leota was lying face down on the bed in the front bedroom, a knife protruding from her back. The bed was soaked in blood. Kevin, in a panic, pulled the knife from her body, and the children ran outside, screaming, "Mommy's bleeding." Neighbors Mary Grow and Nellie Edwards rushed to the scene, only to find Leota bound with neckties around her hands, neck, and ankles. Another necktie had been stuffed into her mouth as a gag. Emergency services arrived quickly, but it was too late. Leota was pronounced dead on arrival at Broadlawn's Polk County Hospital. Her husband, Ray, was summoned to the hospital, where he was delivered the devastating news: his wife had been brutally murdered. The Polk County medical examiner, Dr. Leo Luca, determined that Leota had been stabbed 4 times in the back, with all wounds penetrating her lungs. She died from internal hemorrhaging. There was no evidence of sexual assault, and nothing had been stolen from the home. Dr. Luca theorized that the killer was a kook or pervert who got scared and panicked. Neighbors reported seeing a suspicious man in a black Ford Mustang parked near the camp residence around 11 a.m. that day. He was described as a Caucasian male in his early to mid-20s, about 5 feet 8 inches to 5 feet 10 inches tall, with a stocky build, brown curly hair, and a good tan. He wore a brown and white plaid shirt with dark trousers. Witnesses said the man cut diagonally across the camp's front yard, entered the house, and left shortly before noon. A sketch of the suspect was released, and within 4 days, police received over 500 tips. But despite the flood of information, no arrests were ever made. Just a few weeks before her murder, Leota had received an obscene phone call. When she answered, a male voice asked, "Where you been?" Thinking it might be a friend joking around, Leota replied that she'd been feeding the baby. The caller responded with an obscene comment that Ray refused to repeat. The family's phone number wasn't even listed in the directory, making the call all the more unsettling. At the time, they dismissed it as a wrong number, but in hindsight, it seemed like a chilling prelude to the tragedy. The lack of a clear motive deepened the mystery. There was no evidence of sexual assault, and nothing had been taken from the home. Leota's family never returned to the house, and her daughter Brenda, who still lives in the Des Moines area, has never driven past it. Over the years, several theories emerged. One neighbor, Carol Weatherich, believed she was the intended victim. On the day of the murder, Carol had left home to buy a new car, leaving her children with a babysitter. When she returned, she learned of Leota's death. Carol is convinced the killer was a hitman who targeted the wrong house. "I had a gut feeling my life was in danger," she said. "I went to a dog pound and got a German Shepherd for protection, that's how afraid I was." Another lead pointed to James Mike Mitchell de Bartoleben, a notorious serial killer who died in prison in 2011. A man from Maryland who studied de Bartoleben's crimes contacted Brenda, suggesting that the police sketch resembled the killer. However, this lead never yielded concrete evidence. Ray Camp never gave up hope for justice. He offered a $2,500 reward for information leading to an arrest, but the case remained unsolved. Ray remarried and spent 53 years with his second wife, Carolyn, but he never forgot Leota. He passed away in the summer of 2024 and was buried next to her in Scobie Cemetery in Pollock, Missouri. Leota's children and Carolyn continue to hold on to the hope that one day, the mystery of her murder will be solved. Brenda, now in her 50s, has a thick file of documents about her mother's case. She keeps it close, waiting for the day when a new clue might emerge. Leota Camp's murder remains one of Iowa's most haunting cold cases. The brutal nature of the crime, the lack of a clear motive, and the mysterious suspect who vanished without a trace have left investigators and the family searching for answers for over half a century. The story of Leota Camp is a tragic reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring pain of unresolved loss. As the years pass, the hope for justice grows dimmer, but the memory of Leota lives on. Her family's determination to uncover the truth keeps her story alive, a testament to the love and resilience of those left behind. And somewhere, perhaps, the key to solving this decades-old mystery still waits to be found. Do you think the obscene phone caller was involved, or may have been? How did he get their unlisted number? Or did he dial the wrong number? Give us your opinion in the comments.